Today, the soccer star is entering a brave new world in which living for kicks has its own special meaning. The big occasion, fame, travel are all part of the game, and so now are high rewards. All this and the world at his feet. And if he's a Jimmy Greaves scoring here, he has a price on his head to make even millionaires winners. But behind the Saturday glory, the big game fervour is a highly competitive profession. Out of thousands of players given trials every year by the top clubs of England, Scotland and Wales, only a handful get as far as Burnley's Alex Elder and sign professional forms to begin at 17 or 18, an exacting career in which only the best can hope to reach the top. Here's the way many stars begin, playing in the cobbled arenas of Clydeside and Lancashire, or in the new parks and open spaces. But it's not often you find a First Division club's talent scout watching backstreet players. Who said it was tough at the top? What about the bottom? Never in the 100 years of soccer has so much help been given to those who want to learn the game. Every year between 400 and 500 schoolmasters, youth leaders and others qualify as coaches under the Football Association scheme. Coaches such as former West Ham player Malcolm Allison visit schools at a cost to the FA of £10,000 a year. And more professionals are passing out as fully fledged coaches. Here's Jimmy Hill, the player who's done more than anyone to win a new deal for professional footballers, showing you've got to use your head. Nowadays, the more go-ahead clubs take their responsibilities to young players very seriously. West Ham United chairman Reg Pratt is one of the many who believes in preparing them for the time when their playing days are over. Few players can stand the pace and strain of modern football beyond their mid-30s. But now, how's our young professional getting on? He's following the example of the best and getting down to it. And to an old player, there's nothing so sweet as to see a star in the making. Dedicated, self-disciplined, strong in the tackle, fearless, and with keen positional sense, Alex Elder's got most of the things that it takes to make a top-class player. Day after working day, he practices, polishing those moves that have helped put Burnley among the footballing elite of Europe, along with Spurs and the famous Rangers of Glasgow. Ever since the professional footballer was recognised more than 75 years ago, his status has been improving. Slowly and against opposition most of the time, but lately, very quickly. Today, he's neither a slave, nor is he pampered. He gives pleasure to millions. With the top clubs, he gets the best medical attention, with everything from heat lamps to a wax bath designed to get the swellings out of sprained ankles. Yet in the end, everything comes back to the player himself, to his character, his determination to keep on top of his game, and this can mean austere living. He moves through the junior teams, into the reserves, and then, if he's good enough, into the first team. This is the moment he's waited for. Into the cauldron he goes. Those who really make football the big game are the dedicated players like Elder. They know the glory and also the cost of having the ball at their feet.
For the first time in the Cup's short, hectic history, the final rounds came to be played in Britain, in the islands where the game, as we now know it, was born more than a century ago. England had never won the World Cup, had never been in its final, but Alf Ramsey always believed that it could be done. Bobby Moore and Bobby Charlton are but two of his star-laden training squad, key men. It was said that Ramsey gets the best from his stars when he has them abroad on foreign tours. So a vital program of international games was arranged before the start of the Cup matches. It was designed to give the manager his chance to knit together a team of world class, and world class it has to be. A few years ago, the England team wasn't rated with an outside chance, but Alf Ramsey never agreed. And it was a tribute to him that as the World Cup series drew near, so his team became favourites with the holders Brazil. More than 1 million people all over the country now play what used to be a rich man's game. The young, the old, and even the disabled. Once they fall for it, they never lose the charm of this infuriating and enchanting game. Experts reckon that more than £20 million is spent on the game every year in Britain alone, in club dues, green fees, and equipment. Young tournament player Anne Sutton shows what it's like to give the game the full treatment. She has her own trolley, a full bag of matched clubs, and all the gadgets that golfers grow to love, not to mention sporting tailor-mades and special shoes. Her clubs and outfit would cost about £120, and she makes them look well worth it. There are more than 3,000 golf clubs in Britain and hundreds of public or municipal courses, on which a workaday round costs £0.50 or so. Of these last, the best known is probably Richmond Park near London, where play starts at 7 in the morning. Even at that early hour, there's often a small queue of cars, some of them with players who've just come off night work and who book their places to tee off. You don't have to be a millionaire to play golf today. It's no longer just a game for the rich or the leisurely. Nearly 500,000 women, many of them housewives, now play it. Some of them with desperate seriousness. Others because it makes a break from the kitchen sink. Many of the experiments are carried out at Loughborough College of Advanced Technology. A man is wired up to a delicate instrument that records the tiny electric impulses that are produced by his nerves when his muscles are in action. These minute currents produce a movement on the needle, varying according to the way the muscles are working. So the machine gives a scientific picture of what happens in a golf swing and how the various muscles are used. Nothing could look simpler than putting, until you try it. But what goes wrong? Why don't they all drop? A test surface and thousands of putts, all recorded on a punch card system, are helping to supply the answer. Out on a practice ground, a young woman golfer helps to test the effect of her swing on the club under playing conditions. That's one thing certain about golfers. They have an intense curiosity about this game, and they'll take endless trouble to get their swing into a groove so that they hit the ball in the same way every time they look at it. Then there's another side to the question the experts are asking. How exactly does the golf ball behave as it spins its way through the air? This could have a bearing on the way you hit it. The answer's to be found at the Royal Military College of Science at Shrivenham, in a wind tunnel, where scientists and engineers can recreate conditions similar to the speed and flight of the ball. Back at Loughborough, the scientists will often use a computer. They feed into the machine all the information they've obtained by their experiments. And in the end, the computer can tell them what the golfer has done in terms of mathematics. The golf swing. Its secrets will take some years to put on paper. When it's really explained by the scientists, it'll help players not only of golf, but all sorts of games.
The spirit of cricket still abides in the villages, where on Friday evenings, men like painter, medium-pace bowler Cyril Ackerman start thinking about tomorrow's game. For young Brian, the deep field. Marking creases, Builder George. Light mower, Ron Cummins wondering perhaps about his lunch. It's his wife Olive's turn to cut the sandwiches. For at every home match, two wives take it in turn to prepare, deliver and serve tea. Today, it's Olive Cummins and Pat Goodall. The mixture of dour contest and amiable picnic proceeds with up-to-the-minute information provided. At last, tea. Those taking part, 22 performers, scorers and one hopeful dog. From village green to cricket's centre of gravity, the most famous pitch of all. The sacred core of 19.5 acres of priceless property where cricket has been played by the Marylebone Cricket Club for 150 years. Yes, this is Lord's. Cricket at Lord's doesn't just happen. There's a ritual. The fielding side file through the historic long room packed with the ghosts of cricketers whose achievements and peculiarities are frequently revived by the commentators. The opening batsmen follow. Cricket, like other sports, is a career. Today, there are no gentlemen, no players, there are just cricketers. The one certain thing about cricket is that it can always be relied on to start a discussion. If it's not the bowlers, it's the batsmen. If it's not the players, it's the laws. The impact of cricket varies. To some, the game is sacred. To some, a background for knitting. On others, it makes no impact at all.
Style, colours, the right anorak, and of course those eye-catching ski trousers. What does it cost to become a skier? You can get your equipment for around £30, and a fortnight on the slopes costs between £40 and £50. Beginners need to exercise long before they reach the snowfields. Schools like this, in a famous London sports shop, prepare novices for the adventure to come. Muscles used in skiing are neglected most of the year, and former ski champion Annie Moray knows how to tone them up. Swing, swing, keep going now from the hips. For fun and competition, some 80